Hi guys, I wanted to show you how to craft a deck stacking bow after the changes of Aisling and Veiled Chaos Orbs. You want to start by alteration spamming on a level 86 base as usual, 86 or above. And you want a high base attack speed like Thicket or Imperial. Usually Thicket is the best one. And on average it's going to take you 763 alterations, like pretty much all of the bows that start with this craft, plus 2 arrows. And once you have your plus 2 arrows, you want to imprint an AUG for one of these 3 mods. This step is the same as the Elemental Elite one. If you hit any of these, you can either craft a deck stacking bow or an Elemental Elite one. If you want to know all the steps, go check the Elemental Elite video. I explained them in detail. And let's say you imprint and you just augment cold damage T1 or T2, let's say T2. Now you imprint again, and now you have this saved in this state. Now you want to regal, annul the mod that you just regaled, and this is a 1 in 3. And if you don't need the mod that you want to remove, you just always bring it back with imprint and imprint back again, and then regal and annul again. This takes 3 tries on average, and the next step also takes 3 tries on average. And you need Hunter Exalts, which are really expensive at the moment, so I'm going to show you another way without using an Hunter Exalted Orbs later, but for now I'm showing you like the classic way that we were using last league. So you use Hunter Exalt, and you will get a mod, and then you annul. If you remove one of the good mods, these are 1 in 3 again, so 3 in the step before and 3 here. That's a total of 9 imprints you're going to use, and 3 Hunters, Hunter Exalted. So this is a pretty expensive step. If you remove one of the bad mods, you have to imprint back and make another imprint, regal, annul the bad mod that you just regaled, and then you Hunter Exalt and annul and try to remove the bad mod that you just Hunter Exalted Orb. If with the Hunter Exalted Orb you hit the deck stacking mod, you hit the jackpot. You don't have to do this, but it's really rare. It's gonna be like 5% or something, maybe less chance for you to hit the deck stacking mod directly with Hunter Orb. I crafted like over 50 of these bows last league, and I only hit that jackpot once, and I had to skip. I could just skip this step. So once you are in this stage, you craft bench suffixes. You go in, can have multiple crafted mods. You do prefix cannot be changed, and suffix cannot be changed. This is a 6 exalt step, and then we can use the harvest, reroll cold, and since the only tag left as a prefix is cold and all the suffixes are full, and both prefixes and suffixes are protected, every mod on the item is protected. There's nothing that can happen. The only thing that can happen is for the item to have an extra mod on it, because even though you protect your affixes, you can still add a mod. And the wording of rerolls is including a modifier with the selected type. For example, including a cold modifier. So since the only cold modifier as a prefix, which is the empty affix that we have, is going to be deck stacking, we will always get the deck stacking mod. I can show you like over and over. One reforged cold, you can find it in Harvest, is really common, and it will always give you deck stacking. Once you do this, you can just remove all the mods and you can just multi-mod. So you go in bench suffixes, can have multiple crafted mod, and then you do attack speed or crit plus quality, whatever you want. I'm going for attack speed here. And you go for a prefix penetration, and you pretty much have a 5 mod bow, which are somewhat expensive, but they nerfed a lot of the crafts. We didn't use Aisling, we didn't use anything. And the next version is going to be, if we start with Hunter base, this is going to be harder, because if we start on an item with Influence Hunter, and we remove fire and +2, it's going to take like 100 imprints, on average 103. With the null saves, it's going to be less. But let's say we hit like tier 2 cold, for example, mod pool, mod pool prefix, we want tier 2 cold. And this is the same, by the way. You imprint, augment. If you get a bad mod, you null. And if you remove the arrows, you bring it back and you imprint again. And then you augment, you try to remove the bad mod. And you can do this over and over, imprint back. And let's say you hit tier 2 cold. You want to imprint at this point, and then you do regal, annul, and you want to remove the mod that you just added. If you remove one of the either cold or +2, you imprint it back and use another imprint. You regal and you annul. You want to remove the bad mod that you just regaled? Yes. Okay, now you go in band suffixes and we want to previous cannot be changed. Sorry. Can have 3 crafted mods with previous cannot be changed and suffix cannot be changed. And we are at the same step that we had before. And you do reforge, harvest, reforge cold, reroll cold, and we will get the deck stacking. And then we can remove all the mods and multi-mod like we did before. And we get the same bow, but in a different way. And we can craft either attack speed or crit sense like before. And then we craft penetration. And we have the exact same bow as here, but we didn't use 3 Hunter Exalted. We just used a little bit more imprints. You would have to check for yourself which one is the best way. They're pretty much exactly the same bow. But if you start on a Hunter base, you can actually do something else, because we have it imprinted in this state with the Hunter influence. So when we do Regal, and then we remove the mod, and we do can have 3 crafted mods with the prefix cannot be changed and suffix cannot be changed. We can do this 6 exalt step and the imprint step over and over. If we and we can just reforge cold and get the Dex mod. And if we want to go for something a little better, you can craft can have 3 crafted mods with the prefix cannot be changed and a random prefix. So any random prefix. So now if we want to Isling, we can Isling with a 66% success rate, and it will always give us a suffix, right? Because the prefixes are full, and there's 2 suffixes that we can remove that we don't care about, and 1 is arrows. If we remove the arrows, so basically Isling now works with an annul and then it adds a mod. But it's not coded correctly on Craft of Exile yet, but I tested it in game. This should like 99% work. I'm pretty sure it works. So Isling works like an annul. Right now, if we used Isling, it would have removed the prefix cannot be changed. And then the only mod that is open on the bow is a suffix. So we would have a veiled suffix. But we can't do it here because if you see, if we have the full bow, Isling is grayed out, it doesn't work. So let's say we remove the prefix cannot be changed, and then we do Isling, and in this case it removed another mod, but that's not how it works. In game you can do it safely. It's a 1 in 3 chance of breaking and 2 in 3 chance of not breaking, because it will remove the crafted mods. Then we remove the all crafted mods, and also, okay, this is not actually correct because it will give us a suffix every time because the prefix is full. On the annul here, it will always remove a suffix. So, and then we do Isling, and right now it's not coded correctly, so it's really hard to simulate. But basically, we want, let's just do it until it gives us a suffix, okay. And then we remove the crafted mods, and this is what we will have after we do the Isling. And we can craft a random mod to block. We probably want to craft trigger, because if we look at the mod pool of veiled mods, trigger is the one with highest weight, 1500. So we want to block this. And we're blocking bend, suffix. Wait, what? That's the wrong bow. Bend, suffix, and we go for trigger. And this blocks some weight off of the bow. So when we unveil the suffix, we want to go for attack speed or crit sense. Here we got attack speed plus quality. Then we remove the craft that we just added to block. And we can craft what we need. For example, crit sense or crit sense plus quality if we didn't have quality here, or attack speed plus quality if we hit crit sense here. And once we have our suffixes done, we can just go in harvest and augment. We can augment influence and try to go for penetration. This is a really low weight, as you can see. Hunter penetration is 1200 out of all of this. Let's say if we want to remove this, and then we go exalted orb and harvest type, we go influence, and we are on an influence that is hunter, and we want to add penetration any tier while the cold deck stacking mod is on the bow already. It will be on average 9 augment influences. I recommend doing this only if you want to go for like mirror tier or close to mirror tier bow. So on average, one out of every 9 times that you augment influence, it will give you penetration. And as you can see, we got penetration here. And let's say you started with T1 cold from the start, because we can just use more imprint at the start. So we add mod pool prefixes, we add T1 cold. This is just gonna take more imprints at the start. And we have pretty much like a 6 mod bow. And it's really expensive because we have to use augment influence. But if you want to go for like the mirror tier one with 6 mods, I think this is the best way to do it. If you have a better way, let me know in the comments. And let's say when you augment influence, let's say we don't have the pen and we just augment influence, right? Let's say you hit a bad mod that you don't want. You can imprint back to the state with just cold damage and 2 arrows, and spend 6 exalts again to get the dex back, the dex stacking mod, and then you can do the whole build thing again. This is really expensive. To make a bow like this, probably gonna cost like 200 to 300x. But if you want to go for like probably maybe more, because depending on the price of augment influences. But that if you want to go for this bow, that's probably like the best way. See, it's around 11%, 1 in 9 to get any tier of penetration, or actually a little bit more. It's probably like almost 15%. And that's pretty much it. I recommend crafting this version, the multi-modded, or one of these 2 versions, like the one that you start without the influence or the one that you start with the influence. You want to craft the mirror tier version like this only if you're like really, really rich and you're like in the super end game. But right now it's Leaguestart and not many people have that kind of currency. So I recommend the multi-modded version. It's going to carry you through early to mid game, and late game you can transition into something better. The only problem is that you're kind of stuck. You only can get either crit sense or attack speed, and you usually want both. But you can carry your crit sense with crit implicit on gloves. You can get crit suffix on chest, base crit, and you can also get a What's Eye with hatred crit. So you can probably scale your damage really well. And also, if you have a headhunter, you should be fine in crit sense. If you need more crit sense percent on your tree, you can always use medium clusters. The crit ones are really good. If you look here, we go for pressure points. It gives you double damage and crit. And precise retaliation is going to give you 60% crit chance if you haven't blocked recently, which you never block. So if you use these 2 combined together, you get 90% crit chance. And you can make up for a lot of the loss of crit on your base if you're using a combination of mediums and some base crit on your gear. Thanks for watching, and thanks for everyone supporting the channel. If you want to see more content, I will be streaming on Twitch. I'll leave the link in the description below, and see you in the next video.